So RF types. Normally we know about the RFC connections types, right? RFC connection types here. RFC connection types. So RFC connection type means in SM59 we have the R3 connection, ABAP to ABAP, HTTP connection, external connections, internal connections. So there are the types of connections are there here, right? SM59 we will create this one here. This is the RFC connection types, right? RFC connection types here. So RFC connection types, which we will do it here. So at the same time we have, so there is a one more small theoretical topic that is called the RFC types. RFC types, not the connection types. It's a RFC types here. So there are the four types of RFC types are available here. So one is the synchronous, right? Synchronous RFC. Then second one is the async, right? Second one is the async. The third one is called the transactional RFC. Transactional RFC. The fourth one is called the queued RFC. Queued RFC. So they are the four types of RFC connections are available here. Total entire one is the synchron. So there are the four types of RFC connections. One is the sync, async, transactional RFCs, and queued RFC here. So what is this difference here, right? So what is this differences between the sync, async, transactional, and queued? So when this will be useful? This is the internal process while communicating the system between the system. Suppose this is the one system ECC, this is the BW system. So if you want to transfer the data, right? ECC to BW, right? Both our systems are there here. So whenever you are transferring the data from the ECC to BW, you are transferring the data. So that time that it will be used the RFC connection. So it will use the RFC connections here, right? So that is called the RFC connections. It will use it here: synchronous, asynchronous, and transactional, right? It will use the why, because anything from system to system, any data transfer. So business means the data transfer should happen from the system to system, server to server, and everything. So here ECC to BW, if you are transferring the data, then in this case, what will happen? So there are it internally it will use the synchronous communication, asynchronous communication, like that it will happen it here, right? So for business to business, the connection will use it here. The internally it will use the connections here. So first of all, let's start discussing about the synchronous RFC. So what is this mean by synchronous RFC type means? So here synchronous RFC is the reliable. This very important and reliable and consistency. Consistently, it will transfer the data between the systems from one system to other system to some other systems consistently. And so it will reliable connection. It will transfer the data. But the only thing is here while transferring the data to the target system, the target system should be available. Target system should be available to transfer the data, right? The source system. So what will happen? So maybe if you go on mute. Yeah. So source system will send the data to the target system. Okay. The source is sending the data to the target system here. Like this, source is sending the data to the target system here. While sending the data to the target system here, what will happen, right? So the target should be available. Also, this is one more data. Suppose one object is transferring to the target system here. Like this, it will transfer to the target system. Then the target will receive the data, will send back the acknowledgement saying that I have received the first transaction. Please send the another transaction. Like this, the source will send the transactions to the target system. Source will send the transaction to the target. So then the receiver, BW, will receive it, will send the response back to the ECC here, right? So it requires both the systems should be available, and also there is a acknowledgement received. Normally, if you see the old mobile phones, not the smartphone, old mobile phones, So when you send your message to the your friend mobile is the target, your mobile is the source. When you send the one text message to your mobile in the old phones, you will get the, as soon as your friend receive the message, you will get the notification saying that so delivered, something like that. You will get the message like delivered, right? You will get the one pop-up notification, means acknowledgement you will get, right? So similar kind of connection, this is the one. So nowadays, I think if you're in the smartphones, we will keep on sending the messages. So whether it is going or not, we are not sure. But in the old phones, if you send one text message to the one of the mobile number, your friend mobile number target, then immediately, as soon as your friend receives, you will get the acknowledgement back saying that message has been delivered to the particular mobile number. Like that, you will get the one acknowledgement, right? That is called the acknowledgement. With the same type of connection here, when you are sending in the synchronous, when you are sending the data to the target, so data will go to the target, then immediately the target will send the bounce back, means it will send the back to the source saying that I received it, please send the one more transaction, then please send the acknowledgement. Like that, order wise, reliable, sequence wise, it will transfer the data here. So once the, so in case of target is not available, then so data will not be go out to the target system. Then it will wait until system availability. Means if in case of target is down, then system it won't send any data. It will wait for the target system should be available. Then after once, as soon as the target is available, it will transfer the data. That is called the synchronous RFC. So in the synchronous RFC, it required acknowledgement. It required the acknowledgement from target. It required the acknowledgement from the target here. Required the acknowledgement from the target. So coming to the async, right? Coming to the async transaction. So async transaction is not that much of reliable and not the consistent to transfer the data. Why? Because source system only send the data without verifying the target system status, right? Why? Because async means there is no acknowledgement. Even it will not check whether my target, my subordinate, my target whether received the message or not. Keep on sending the data to the target. It won't bother about. It won't send any acknowledgement back to the source, right? It first of all, it does not verify whether target is opposite to the sync. Sync, this is a reliable, consistent, will, and also whether source is target is online, then only it will transfer the data. But here, so async means here, asynchronous connection means, so there is no transactions. Async connection means, async means, so there is no reliable. So, and also even target down also, it will transfer the data. So, but it will not bother about why my target is received or not, means smartphones. Nowadays, if you send the text message, we are not sure whether our friend is received or not. Why? Because we don't get any acknowledgement from them, right? If you call them, if you answer it, then he will say like, I received the one, until unless you call them, right? Normally, previous mobiles, if you send the message, there is an option, delivered option you will get, right? But here, nowadays, we don't have any option like delivered, something like that, which means there is no consistency. There is no reliability here to transfer the data from source to target. There is no reliability here. ECC to BW here, right? Which means target system is down also, then it will send the data here. Means acknowledgement are not required in this connection. Source system has no information about the whether the data is transferred or not. It has no information here, right? So then that is called the asynchronous. That is called the asynchronous RFC here. Sync and async. Sync and async both are opposite directions here, right? Sync. Sync means source will send to the target. Target will give response back saying that I received the transaction. Like that, it will send the acknowledgement. Then async means there is no acknowledgement. So it's keep on sending the data from the source to target system here, right? So that is called the async connection here. So the next one is called the transactional RFC. The transactional RFC here, the transactional RFC. The next connection is called the transactional RFC. So the transactional RFC is similar to the asynchronous only. Transactional RFC means similar to the asynchronous RFC, but this RFC connection, each and every request, it will assign the one transaction ID. One transaction ID will assign to the, so one transaction ID will assign to the, when sending the data to the, so target, it will assign the one transaction ID so that we can verify it. And also there is no duplicates. And also it will say like, so if the data already there in the target, it will say like data already exists. Why? Because it will assign the one ID, one transaction ID will be assigned here. Normally when you do the payment, right, whether the bank payment or transaction payment or Paytm or phone pay, or there is a one transaction ID will be assigned to us. That is the unique key for each and every transaction, right? That is the unique key. It's not that, that is the one, right? So here, so transactional RFC means it will same as like async only. Async means there is no acknowledgement, even target system not available, also source will not bother, will keep on sending the data, right? So then the transaction ID is, it will send to the target. So here, so the remote system in this way, while because here assigning the transaction ID, so that when you are sending the same transaction to target, there is a duplicates. Means, so here remote system, it won't process the duplicate transactions, means multiple times it won't process the transactions. So that what the one of the good thing to know here is the transactional RFC here, right? Transactional RFC. So even though if the target system is not available, data held in the source system until target is available, right? So means, so data is sending to the target, then it will assign the one transaction ID. So in case of target is down, the data will be held in here. Then as soon as the target is available, so then again it will send the data to the target. There is a program. So RFC, SC, there is a program in the backend. Regular time it will call it. It will transfer the data to the target here. It is called the ECC to BW here, right? So let's see. So for the transactional RFC, we have the transaction code here, right? SM58 is the transaction code for the transactional RFCs. SM58 is the transaction code for the transactional RFCs here. So in the SM58 transaction code, here we can see the, are there any transactions failed in the system or not? So this is one of the daily monitoring activity which we have to do it in the system here, right? Just you can just remove the dates and see, are there any transactions are stuck in the system or not here, which are done by the users. Here we can check the any transactions stuck or not. So this transaction code will give you the information, right? See here, there are the two transaction codes stuck. One is the 23rd 20. One is the user is locked. Second one is also user is locked. One is the basis user. Second one is the demo user. In the production, it got failed. In the production, it got failed here. Means, see here. So there is a user is locked. There is a transaction ID, right? You can see the transaction ID for each and every system here, right? ID is created for each and every transaction. One ID is created, right? So this ID will help so to avoid the duplicates. To avoid the duplicates, this transaction ID will be assigned. This transaction ID will be assigned here. It is called the user is. So like this. Suppose when we identify this type of issues here, just select it. So go to here. There is a execute here. If you execute it, so just select it. So just click on go to and execute it. If it is okay, then it will process, right? You can see one now target is available done. So when you just reprocess it, automatically it got reprocessed. There is only one, right? So in this way, we can avoid this type of issues in the system. So as part of your regular monitoring, daily monitoring in the system in SM58, so we need to check the whether are there any transactional RFCs in the system or not, right? So normally business users, they will do the transactions, right? So in the SAP system. the transactions will go to the inflow and inside of the SAP, outside of the SAP, one system to other system. So whenever you did the transaction, it will assign the one transaction ID. Sometimes what happens due to the system issues, the transaction will stuck here, right? We want to process that one, right? In that case, we can select it, we can reprocess it here. So that is called the transactional RFCs. That is called the transactional RFCs here. In SM58, we can check it out. So transactional RFCs is same as like a asynchronous RFC, right? So if any transaction is failed, we can check in the SM58. For each and every transaction, there is a associated transaction ID. That ID will help to process the things here. Okay. Next one is the queued RFC. Queued RFC means queues wise. So data will go to the target systems based upon the queues. Queues means, so while based upon the queues, based upon the queues, the data will go to the target system based upon the queue order wise, sequence wise, the data will go to the transactions here. That is called the queued RFC here. Okay, queued RFC here. So queued RFC means it's a advanced version of the transactional RFC. Advanced version of the transactional means in a sequence wise. In the queue means order, right? First in, first out, first in, first out, right? In the queue means first person, second person, third person. We have to sequence wise. It will process the data in a sequence here, so that it will guarantee that transactions are processing in order by the application. Transactions are processing in order by the applications, right? Hence it is called the queued RFC here. So queued RFC, queues wise, that data will go to the system here. Queues means in the system we need to create the queues here. Queues. There are some two types of queues are there here. Two types of queues. So right. So inbound queues, then outbound queues, right? Inbound, outbound here. So first of all, we need to define the queues in the system here, right? In SMQR, SMQS, we have to define the queues here. SMQR. Suppose if we go to the here SMQR, queue in scheduler, here we have to define the queues here, right? Queues, SMQR. So we have to define the queues here. Means we need to create the queue. Which queues we have to create it here, right? SMQS is the transaction code. Here we can create the queues here, right? Outbound queues here, which are going outside of the system, means respect to target system. Inbound queue means which is coming inside of the system. Inbound and outbound here. Here you can see one of the queue is created like a CF queue. So like that, just you can create the one more queue like a AB star queue. Suppose the team want to like a queue, AB star queue, then we can create the AB star queue. So then AB star via queues, the data will be go to the respective the target system, here, like this. So R means register. So which means via this queue, data will transfer to the respective system here. Or via this queues, data will come inside of the system here. Means sequence wise, order wise, it will process the data. Sequence wise, order wise, it will process the data. This type of configuration, SMQS, SMQR, we can configure it in the systems here, right? This is the outbound queues. Outbound means various system, different system, external system, right? Which means how we can connect to the external system via RFC destination, here. Now it will ask the RFC destination here. It will ask the RFC destination here, right? So, so this is the one. Suppose like, so from ECD, I want to transfer the data. Then ECD, then just select the RFC destination. So because outbound queues, right? Outbound means SAP, different SAP systems. Then I can select the ECD, CRM systems, DW systems. Like all are the SM59, we will create the RFC destinations. So that RFC destinations we can create it here. That destinations we can transfer it here. So here the creation of the queues has to be done in this SMQR, SMQS. We have to do it. SMQR and SMQS. We have to do it in the system here. SMQR, SMQS, we have to do it in the system here, right? So then, so so you can see it here. So suppose anything, any queues, you can define it here. The queues we can define it here. So that via this queues means via RFC destination, which is going outside of the system. So you can create the n number of RFC destinations based upon the requirement. You can create the RFC destination so that the functional team will send the data to system here. So where can we monitor? Where can we monitor whether the data is flowing or any data is failed? So there is a SMQ1 transaction code. Here we can check the whether any data failed or not. It should be 00, which means nothing is failed. SMQ1 here, SMQ1. So is the transaction code to monitor. SMQ2 is the transaction code to monitor the if any failed entries. If any failed entries, we have to monitor here. SMQ1 also to monitor the data if any failed entries here. If any failed entries here, that is what we have to do it here. SMQ1, SMQ2. Okay, that is called the here, right? So here SMQ2 is the inbound queues here, inbound queues, SMQ2 inbound, SMQ2 outbound here. These are the 4 transaction codes will be helpful to transfer the data via queues. The data will be forwarded to the target system here, right? Via queues, the data will be forwarded to the target system here, right? So that is called the 2 types of queues here, SMQR, SMQS transaction codes here, right? Inbound and outbound queues here, right? Inbound means which is coming inside of the system. So the configuration we have to do it in the SMQR, right? Where can we monitor whether the any data is failed? SMQ2. So outbound means SMQS. So where can we check whether the data is failing or not? Here we can check the SM. So here we can check it out the information here, SMQ1, SMQ2 transaction codes here, right? So this is the one thing about the SMQ1 and SMQ2 transaction codes here. Any fail entries, SMQ1, SMQ2 transaction codes. Okay, so that is the concept of this is for this 4 transaction codes for the queues here, the queues RFC here. So this is for the SM58 about the transactional RFC. These 2 transaction codes, these two types of connections, we don't have any transaction codes. Internally, it will process it here. Okay, so once again, the queued RFCs are very important. So let me show you here. This is the one system which is going out, that is called the outbound queues here. Why? Because it is going out. Outside of it is going means outside of the system connectivity, we have to do it via RFC destination. That's why in SMQR, SMQS, SMQR, we will configure these destinations here, right? Inbound and outbound destinations, we have to configure it here. Inbound and outbound configurations via destinations, we have to configure it. This is what the inbound and outbound configurations, which we have to do it in the systems here, right? That is called the SMQR and SMQS. Got it, right? So inbound means once the outbound it is going, which is coming to the in only, again in. So this side it is called the inbound, this side it is called the outbound, which is going out, which is coming in. Which is going out, which is coming in here. So which means this is the in, and this is the in, and this is going out, in and out. Why? Because server means data will come to the system, data will go outside of the system, will come inside of the system, data will come and data will go. So here that's why we have the inbound and outbound, it will come like this here, right? Inbound and outbound queues here. Okay, that is called the RFC types here. Okay, so it's clear. Any questions, anyone? It's clear, right? So types of RFCs, we have the 4: sync, async, transactional, queued RFC. Here we have the sync. Sync means So both the systems should be available. Reliability, it will transfer the data to the target system here. Async means, so there is no reliability. If the target down also, system will accept it here. System will accept it here, right? So that is the async connections here, right? So then, so transactional SM58 is the transactional RFC. Queued RFC, SMQ1, SMQ2, and SMQR, SMQS. These are the transactional QRFC's connection here, inbound and outbound. QR, QS.
Sir, have a doubt. Like all these RFCs are applied in the real-time application?
Right.
All are.
All are real time only. Why? Because regularly we will monitor this one. So regularly we have to daily basis SM58, we have to check every failed entries, we need to reprocess. SMQ1, SMQ2 also we have to check if any.
Only these two, right? Like transactional RFCs and queued RFC.
Yes. Only these two we have the transaction code. Others we have the internal process. Internally system will use it here, but we don't have any transaction codes to track it. System internally it will use it. So, but remaining 3 and 4 we have the transaction codes. So regularly we need to log into the system. We need to check.
Okay. We are going to see this configuration like SMQ1 and Q2.
SMQ.
Q1 and Q2, like you are mentioning that this is inbound and outbound.
Yeah, we have to do it.
Like how to configure?
Yeah, configuration part. So you have to go to the SMQS. So there we have to configure the outbound queues. Suppose you are transferring the data to the ABC system. The first of all, RFC destination we have to create. Then same RFC destination we have to register here. That's it. Then remaining data transfer and everything, functional team will take care. Suppose you want to transfer the data to the, so this destination. Then just you can create the destination naming convention here. Right? Suppose you want to data should be here. Then QRQS is for the configurations, RFC destinations configuration. How you want to transfer the data. That is for RFC destinations. We have to do that one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Means our responsibility to create only, right?
Connections, yeah. Our responsibility is only. So SMQ3 is for the in case of any queues or anything is failed, SMQ3 is for the in case of anything failed, we will move to the SMQ3. That is not much useful. SMQ3 rare cases here. In case of, so any queue you want to track it or anything, then we will move that queue to the SMQ3. Here we can delete or we can just something we can do it here. But this is a saved inbound queues. We can save the inbound queues from here also. But that rare cases as part of the troubleshooting, as part of the fixes, here we will do it in the say inbound queues. SMQ3 we will do it here. SMQ3 we will do it here. SMQ3 we will do it here. But so Q1, Q2 are the most daily useful transaction codes. Okay.
What data it will transfer? So do we have some like select any tables in this outbound connection?
Outbound connections, sorry.
What data it will transfer to target system?
Functional team will do the setup actually. So some LUWs, logical unit of work, some data transfer, they will do that one. That type of configuration they will do it. But from our side, we have to create the queues. That's it. From our side, we have to create the connections. Then they will take care of the remaining part here. So they cannot go with the configurations and everything here. Only so with the configuration exist, then they will go and they will do the data transfer. Some iDocs, some data system in why? Because ECC is the transactional system. So every transaction happens in the ECC system only. ECC means enterprise core component. For every business, suppose if you want to book the order, then that will create the one transaction. The transaction will be saved into the SAP system. So transactions means there are a lot of transactions, right? So then if you want sequence wise, serial wise to process those transactions, those data, then so they will create the queues. We have to create it. then they will divide the data. They will divide the data. So order wise, one by one, it will process the data here. So that's what we have. If we don't have the order queues, what will happen? So all the data will go and sit into the table level. There is no order. There is no consistency here. If we have the order wise data is coming, then we will come to know how many seats are there. So how many seats are empty, how many seats are filling. So that type of order is there. The first who booked it, so that person, that seat is received. Then second person, third, like that, just for example. So like that, the order wise is required here. Sequence wise, order wise required. That's why people will use the queued RFCs here. Use it. They will use the queues. That is called the queued RFC.
Okay.
But basically, our configure, we have to do the configuration. That's it. And regularly, daily basis, we have to go to the SMQ1, check are there any failed entries. If yes, then check it out. If something is the data fault, then we have to inform to the functional team. So then go to the SMQ2, check are there any queue stuck. So if it is something fault, we have to inform to the data fault. Maximum some entries will fail because of the data fault. Means while processing the data, they may miss the some syntax, some tags, they will miss it out. Maybe sometimes what happens, the target system is not available, down, BW is down, or some CRM system is down, target server is down. Then your entry will be populated here. Then in this case, oh, transactions are not moving, then we need to process it here. As an administrator, we need to check and we need to inform to the respective functional teams here. Respective functional teams, we have to inform, right? So this is the way we have to transfer the data from the one system to other systems. We can transfer the data. So this is about the RFC types